Hello, everybody. On the Homefront's the show. My name is John Murphy. Very happy to share some time with you once again. This is our first new show for January this year, so I hope your holidays treated everybody well, that the new year's off to a good start. We've got a lot of good shows coming your way here on the program. We're here every Wednesday live on WILI. We're also on YouTube. If you go to the WILI Radio YouTube channel, many of our afternoon shows are available 24/7 as a regular ongoing resource for you. Our program today will focus on the arts. We're going to close out with the Assets for Artists program, a great resource for artists across the area. They have programs and workshops throughout the year. We'll have a conversation today with Molly Rideout from Assets for Artists. We'll also hear from Rod Rock from the Jorgensen Center. They have a whole spring program about to kick off, so we'll have Rod join us. And we're going to open out again with longtime companion here, Kia Baird. She's the Outreach and Access Coordinator for the Cultural Coalition, serving Southeastern and Northeastern Connecticut. Kia, it's good to have you back in the house.
Hey, good to have you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you,
Can we still
too.
say that? Is it still appropriate? We're in the appropriate window of New Year's? 3 weeks in?
Well, it depends, but I think until January ends, we're good.
Okay, good. Okay.
We're good. But they do programs throughout the year. They also have a Northeast coordinator who helps to reach our local groups in the area. So Kia's got a couple of things to kick us off on. One is advanced planning for the summer solstice, and also some special meeting opportunities around the region that they do throughout the year.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you share some news, and we're good to have you back.
News. All right. Well, I'm glad to be back. Thank you for having me as well as always. Make sure to say hi to Molly for me. I'm so excited to hear that you're going to be talking about Assets for Artists. Quick recap about the Cultural Coalition. As John mentioned, we're actually a DSRO. Is that the right numbers?
Yeah.
For the Connecticut Office of the Arts, which just means we're the regional organization that works as an arm of the Connecticut Office of the Arts. And our mission is to kind of advance the economic and cultural landscape of Eastern Connecticut through arts and culture. So we are excited, as always, to create events and opportunities that bring artists together, that bring cultural organizations together, and finds resources for them and connects them with those resources. One of the things that you mentioned was we started, I guess, at the end of last year to call them coffee chats.
Yes.
We used to call them, what did we call them? Cultural Connects, Culture Connects. And they're really kind of like, the chambers have their business after hours, their networking opportunities. Yeah. So our coffee chats are those networking opportunities. Our executive director, Wendy, buys you a cup of coffee, and we get some artists and culture creators in a room to chat. And talk about the things that they need, talk about the landscape of their region. We have them in different towns, which is great because, as you know, you've been to one town in Connecticut. You've been to one town in Connecticut.
And these folks serve Tolland, Wyndham, and New London County.
We
they have a lot of towns.
A lot of towns. I think it's 46 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Towns that we are serving, and each of them are very unique. So we're happy to go into each of those areas and talk to the players about what their needs are. The last one we had was right here in Willimantic.
That's right.
And we started at Silk City, right? Silk City Coffee, and we all got our coffee. And then we took a great tour to some of the galleries, and we ended down at the River Room. Where we actually talked about things that are happening in the region, and specifically about America 250. Which is something we didn't put on our list.
Well, that's coming up. A big year. Was that your first time in the River Room?
That was my first time.
Tell me your first, because you're a musician, you
I
play.
I love a
what
speakeasy.
Was your impression?
I love a speakeasy. It was so great. I had been in a conversation, a Zoom or something, where I heard talk about the River Room, but it is a lovely space.
It is.
And we, as an event planner, you love a space that can be transformed into many different things. So things that have movable space. And so very, very cool. Very lucky to have that venue.
65 seats, so it's like a jazz club, small tables. You're not crowded. The sound is good.
Yeah.
And you can see everything from where you are, so you can really enjoy the whole space.
Very, very nice. Yes, that was very cool. Yeah. So, but that is kind of what our coffee chats are. They are just an opportunity to bring the community together, to talk about what, projects they might want to work on together, what actions they want to take, and then just to meet people, so it's great. So we'll be having those. I think we're going to have them quarterly, so we'll plan for about 4 of those happening in 2026 in different parts of our region.
Great. One thing you should remember about the coalition is that they're a pathway for federal and state money. The Office of the Arts is the large resource that we have across the state, and the regional service organizations, I think there's 8 of them now, something like that. But they're a way for you to access a lot of information about grants and workshops through them. And if you sign up with the coalition, they do a great newsletter that gets to you. You can get all the information that you might miss. I know it goes by me sometimes, but they'll remind you. And the whole thing now with so many arts people getting active is you have to apply ahead of time. There's some workshops that fill quickly. So signing up for that newsletter, if you're trying to do more than art as a hobby or as a personal expression, if you're trying to do more than that, you need assistance. Don't feel like you're isolated. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the way to access it is through the coalition especially. And I'm sure you hear from startups a lot who are struggling with the basics.
Absolutely. Especially for artists, sometimes when they write a grant, it's their first time writing a grant.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And for artists, oftentimes we are very good at our art. We're not necessarily good at selling our art. We're not good at articulating what our art is about.
That's true.
And we're also oftentimes not good at asking for money, right? So you're absolutely right. The Cultural Coalition is a great resource for that. We have the Funding Booster program.
That's right.
And in our Funding Booster, you can, schedule a one-on-one consultation and really say, like, okay, this is what my project is. How do I get it funded? And we will, we'll help we'll walk you through the project. Yeah. We'll help you kind of decide, like, is this something that you need a grant for, or could it be a sponsorship, or could you sell tickets, or those kinds of things, and even help you proofread some of your things too. So that is definitely a resource that we have for both artists and organizations. If you've got something you're planning on your own, but you're also right that we're a conduit for funders too. So funders will oftentimes come to us and say, hey, we have this money, but we don't have the capacity to put out an application process and score it and do all of that. So sometimes we're a pass-through for funders as well, so we can re-grant. And that's something that we really love to do. That's something I love to do. I like to make sure that artists are getting paid all the time. So something that we really love to do is to be able to re-grant and to fund artists and cultural organizations in that way.
And there's another aspect of this that comes up more often these days is collaboration. Not just working alone, but leveraging what you might have with others to lift a larger load and maybe not reinvent the wheel that way. I know there are examples of that where people sometimes don't even think about collaboration. They get so overwhelmed with the idea, they don't think about partners in it.
Right. Yes. And many of the funders now are looking for that collaboration. As you can imagine, just as we are as individuals, businesses and organizations are looking for the best ways to get the best bang for their buck, and they want their dollars to have the biggest impact it can. So many times funders are saying, we won't fund something unless you are working collaboratively with something else. So it is a way to get funding, but it's also a way just to make your project more robust. If you are a performing arts organization and you partner with a school, you've got an audience there, or you've got people that you could be teaching. You could be teaching or exposing art to the next generation of artists or art lovers. So collaboration is just so key from the practical standpoint, but also from an emotional and a community standpoint as well.
Yeah. Now, we're doing this show in January. It's kind of cold. I just got back from Brazil where it was in the 90s every day. It was very hot. It's kind of rude waking up today. Anyway, but the reason why I say that is one of the things I look forward to is the summer solstice, because it's a nice warm day, the longest day of the year. But something else happens across the planet is this celebration called Make Music Day, and they're planning now. In fact, I wasn't here for the winter solstice, but that happened.
Yes.
But what is your understanding now of thoughts, and how can people learn more about planning for this great celebration?
Absolutely. So June 21st every year is Make Music Day. It is our solstice, our longest day celebration, and we want to celebrate it with art and music. So the Cultural Coalition has, for many years, managed Make Music Southeastern Connecticut.
Right.
And what we have determined this year is that instead of just running it as a regional, we really would like each town, each organization to have their own branded Make Music Day. So Make Music could be Make Music Willimantic, it could be Make Music Norwich, it could be Make Music Vernon.
Right.
And we want to assist with that. So we want to help towns if they have an interest in participating in Make Music Day. And when we say Make Music Day, think music festival, but free and individualized in a way. So if you have a front porch or a coffee shop or an ice cream shop, or if you're in a ukulele group or a barbershop quartet, then you can participate in Make Music Day. The hope is that everyone participates, whether you are a hobbyist musician or you're not a musician at all.
Anybody.
So it's just a great day of music making, and that means with your voice or with the paint cans that you have in the backyard. So at the Cultural Coalition, we just want to facilitate that. We want to be able to help people participate and host their own Make Music Day celebrations in whatever way they'd like to do them.
Yeah. So there's a website you can go to, makemusicday.org. It's a global site, so you can also see what's happening around the world. It started in France, and it's a great site. What people come up with and they call music is just an amazing thing. So you check out the website, then later on towards spring, these folks will be planning with towns to do something on June. But it's a great opportunity to celebrate music in all of its forms. So I'm glad you guys do that.
Thank you.
We have a couple of minutes left, and I wanted to ask you a larger question now, because people are still recovering economically from COVID. It's still a struggle. Small arts groups barely made it through, and actually they all didn't. But what are you hearing about the overall recovery now, and say maybe since last summer to now? How is the region doing with the arts organizations or the guilds and their membership and their performances, their maybe their gallery shows?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I have good news.
Let's be real.
Right. I do think that I do think that we're talking about a resilient group of folks, right? So folks are going to continue to make art. They're going to continue to make both visual, performing, and music. And I have seen that resilience in our galleries, in our theaters. Folks are slowly coming back out to performances and things like that. Yeah. So some of the big venues are doing really, really well. Some of the smaller venues are getting very, very creative. To harken back to that collaboration that you were talking about, we're seeing public art coming up again, and conversation around public art. You see lots and lots of construction. I know you see it everywhere. And we're advocating for art to be incorporated into those types of spaces, right? New buildings, new construction.
Sure. A certain percentage goes into that.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that we continue to work on. But we're coming back, and we're going to come back stronger. There are programs that are making art more accessible, more financially accessible to folks, and the things are wonderful. And then we're also starting to see a few more grant opportunities pop up here and there. And I'm seeing grant opportunities that are usually for different types of things, incorporating arts and culture in their categories that are that qualify people to apply for the grants, which is very, very cool.
You mean maybe it makes their program a little larger with that component?
Right. So certain things where your drop down used to be like, oh, are you an after school program, or are you a small business? It says now, are you an artist? Are you a creative? Are you an arts and culture organization? And they're offering to fund those programs, which is really, really positive.
That's a big victory.
Yeah.
Speaking of victories, our state legislature is about to do the dance again. We know all about that. The arts usually doesn't rise as high as we'd like in the total poll, But I just wonder, I know there's some bills that almost made it. There were some legislators who were very supportive and worked really hard. And not everything made it through, but there is the arts roadmap, and there are efforts underway. So one thing I hope you can help us do in the next few months is update us on the bills people should watch and who the sponsors are, and what strategies you've heard about, if any, so far.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, we can. We'll definitely keep an eye. I saw the schedule for the Appropriations Committee came out today, so so we will keep an eye on that and continue to advocate for arts and arts organizations. And as you were mentioning, websites to check out. Continue to watch the Connecticut Office of the Arts website, because they are doing that advocacy work on behalf of arts organizations. And as funds come to them, they also will will re-grant those funds to folks. So yes, and that is a big part of the work that we do, that we are advocating for arts and cultural organizations, both locally, statewide, and nationally as well.
Yeah. And with the national situation right now, it's very hard to predict anything coming out of there. So we'll have to watch that together. But I'm really glad to have time today with Kia Baird. She's the Outreach and Impact Coordinator at the Cultural Coalition, serving southeastern and northeastern Connecticut. Check out the website for more information than we could cover today. It's loaded. Just go to culturesect.org, culturesect.org. It's all there for you. So I certainly wish you a good year ahead, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care now. We'll take a short break and come right back. Stay with us here on the Homefront. Hey, we're back in the studio here. We're live. This is live radio, people. And the fun about live radio is sometimes Murphy's Law gets into it, and a guest has a problem and can't make the show. And that just happened today. We lost our guest. We have one more segment at the end of the show with Molly Rideout from Assets for Artists. But we're going to have some information for you just to bring you in as a live show to let you know what's happening. But in future weeks, we're going to be very busy here. We have the YouTube channel. I really recommend to you, in case you do miss a show, WILI Radio is the name of the YouTube channel. Many of our shows are recorded like this. They have a lot of great guests with information that doesn't expire. Some of the shows are timely. They come and go. Some of them have information that's good for a while. So check that out, and we're on that list as well. Future shows are going to feature the Poetry at Large series, Poets at Large. The Wyndham Area Interfaith Ministry is going to be here in the house. We're going to have an update from the Connecticut Tenants Union. They're really active right now in helping the stress between landlords and tenants over the economics of how to make it work on both ends. There's a lot of stress today. We've had people on from the union many times. They'll continue this year. The United to Save Our Healthcare Coalition will be here next week talking about the healthcare changes in our region here in eastern Connecticut. We're going to hear from folks who are involved with wind and solar. You know, the federal government under President Trump has really been hostile to wind energy, and they've been really interfering with a project here off the northeast New England coast that we're very involved with. That's back on after a lot of legal problems, but that's an issue we're going to look at. And we're going to look at dispensaries and marijuana in Connecticut as well. So I think right now we're going to feature one of my favorite artists in the area. I've had her in the studio a couple of times over the year. Her name is Patty Tuitt. She's a wonderful woman and a great performer. This record she made with Paul Nelson, it's like one of my favorites from her collection. Hard Case of the Blues is the title. It's with Bobby Rush, and this is Patty Tuitt. A good appropriate time for 2026, Hard Case of the Blues.
What can I do ease your trouble. What can I do to ease your pain? Because lately you've been in a bubble. I've tried to burst it over and over again. You know you've never been much of a talker, but you've always let your love shine through. I can see you're crying on the inside, but there's nothing I can say or do. It's been a hard, hard case, a hard, hard case of the blues. I've been pushing dirt here and there as I climb up to grab that air. If I keep on pushing this dirt, I gotta find my way out of this hurt. I gotta keep on digging in to wash away all of this sin. I know my sins ain't been that bad, but I still lost all that I had. So I'm keeping my eye on the goal so I can get right out of this hole. When my walls are closing in, gotta treat it with whiskey and gin. Then I got to stop and think what to do when I got my drink. I might feel like giving in, but I know I'll never win. Now I'm tired of sitting still, gonna round up all of my will. I gotta find a brand new way, and I just might start today. So I'm keeping my eye on the goal, and I'll dig right out of this hole. Digging up out of this hole. I'm a digging up out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm a digging up out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm a digging up out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm a digging up out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging up out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. Well, I'm a digging out of this hole. I'm digging out of this hole. I'm a digging.
Okay, music from Patty Tuitt here on the Homefront today. Digging up out of this hole, Go Where It Takes You, and Hard Case of the Blues from her wonderful releases. Both of them are very tasty and lovely. Consider This and Hard Case of the Blues from Patty Tuitt. We know the program here, we applied for a grant over the break that we're waiting to hear from, and it's about an addition to the schedule here at the station. I want to share it with you for a few minutes because it's going to change parts of what this show does, and it's going to add another whole element to what WII is doing here with local radio. We're applying for a grant. We've applied for a grant for a new show called Eastern Connecticut Today, and it's going to focus on the social and human service organizations that are serving people and programs all over the region, working with the Community Foundation for Eastern Connecticut, CFECT. They provide grants throughout the year at special times for really grassroots fundraising to help people that are falling through the regular established safety nets, where all the state supports, the federal supports are being limited or compromised. Life goes on, and people are falling through the cracks. And this foundation is helping at this basic level, looking at programs in many dimensions of living for young people, families, workers, all aspects of living. They have a great website with information about what they do. We're trying to create a radio station to give that whole effort a life on the radio, to connect all of those organizations with you so you know what they're doing, what their needs are, and how they're making a real difference in everyday life throughout Tolland, Windham, and New London counties. It's a very focused show on the eastern half of the state. We're going to hear about it probably in mid-March, and it's going to not change what we do here. It's going to extend it to give us more time to cover more stories. So I'm sharing it with you now because we've tried to move beyond the arts, which is where the show started, into all aspects of living. And I mentioned before, in the next month or so, we're going to have several segments that will look at this issue. We're going to look at issues of health care. We've had programs on now for 2.5 years from the Windham United to Save Our Healthcare Coalition. That's about 17 organizations in all dimensions of healthcare trying to deal with the changes in the delivery and access to healthcare. We're going to have two people, Amin and Rodney, will come on next week on the program. We're going to hear from the Wyndham Area Interfaith Ministry. We're going to hear from Poets at Large, a series I've been doing for a couple of years now with Karen Wawinski. She's giving life to the written word, poetry, prose at special live events all around the region. Also, the commercially licensed Community Kitchen Click is on a real roll, providing a business incubator for new food-based businesses. They're launching all kinds of food businesses here. They've made some major changes. We're going to talk about that next week. And we're also going to share the studios with the president of Eastern Connecticut State University. We'll have a Kareem here to talk about Eastern, the changes in higher ed at the federal level with student loans going through a real spin cycle, as well as state funding. We'll talk about that with a Kareem Ismaili next week. And the studio is always open to you for email contacts. I get leads for interviews. I have a calendar with events. Just use email to reach out at john@humanartsmedia.com. We'll make a connection. Sometimes all you have is an event listing. We'll let people know about it on the show. If you have a larger story that needs more time, the studios are here for you as well. They're always open for you each week here, as we have a growing block here at WILI from 3 to 6 every day. There are new shows coming on to help get more local community connection to you through WILI and Hall Broadcasting. So thanks for sharing your time with us. We're going to end a little early this week. We'll see you next week at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Again, the email is john@humanartsmedia.com, and we'll see you then.